Hello, welcome to my very first YouTube channel. My very first YouTube video. Here I'll show you how I took an ordinary Bratz doll and turned it into a Beyoncé Cowboy Carter doll. Now, as you can see, I had a great time at the Cowboy Carter tour. I'm already missing it. I want to go back. It was just incredible to see her live, hear her vocals, just see the whole thing come together. And I wanted to honor that by creating this doll. So here I'll start with this Yasmin doll. She's wearing the base white outfit that I sewed ahead of time. And I do not recommend this. I was blow drying the head, which I think I saw some people do, but it was so hard. I've since rerouted other dolls and boiling works so much better. I mean, you could just kind of set it, test it out. If it doesn't work, put more or leave it in longer. But I did eventually get the head off. And then the next part is even more trying, where I took these scissor pliers and just tried to scrape all that glue and extra hair out of the skull, not sculpt. I'm already messing up. Stay with me, please. Out of the skull. That's so gross. Skull? The doll head. Okay. Eventually you get this little pile of just gross looking little bits of hair and glue, but at that point, you know, that work is already done, and next you just have to decide, or what I had to do was just decide what colored hair I wanted to choose. I was between this color and a very white colored hair. Now, I had made a Beyoncé doll before and I used this white hair, and it just started to read a little bald because the white hair is kind of clear if you really look at it. So I decided to go for this one. It does read a little bit more yellow on camera than it does in person. It's a bit more of an ash blonde color, but I thought it was really pretty and indicative of the entire Cowboy Carter era and the looks that she's been putting out. But yeah, so once I pick the color, then it comes time to remove the paint on the top of the head. And that is done with 100% acetone. I do recommend a bottle like this that has a little push pump at the top because it just keeps it really clean. I did spill a little on my table, so I do need to get like a proper workbench or a little mat for my table so I don't risk messing up the varnish on top. I think it's varnish, I don't know if that's the right word. But yeah, so once I did that, I mixed together a paint that matched the hair decently well, and then I got my tools ready for the rerouting. So what you'll need, and what I had, was a tiny little spray bottle and a rerouting tool. You can buy them, or I've seen people make them, and a little needle with the right size. I can't really remember if the Bratz dolls are a 5 or a 7 right now, but I do know that I struggled, so I might not have had the right size. But after that, I take my hair and I section it off into smaller sections, like even smaller than this, because I'm the kind of person who I need to feel a sense of accomplishment. Like, if I have a big pile of hair in front of me, I'm gonna feel overwhelmed, I'm gonna stop, I'm gonna put it away and never do it again. What I need are like tiny little bits of hair that I can just accomplish and then feel good about myself. So I end up cutting it in half, and then I section that half into another half, and then I section that half into another half. So I do it into quarters basically, and I ended up using almost all the hair that I had, and it was pretty much the right length that I wanted for the doll, because I wanted her to have like floor length for a Bratz, floor length hair. And once everything's sectioned off, what I do with the spray bottle is I'll just spritz the section that I'm working with and look for the little clumps. And one thing to be wary of is just how big those clumps are. You don't want it to be too big. It's tempting to make them pretty big, but if you do, your needle's gonna break or you're just gonna struggle. So I opted to make them smaller than I thought, and I kind of just adjusted. But the next step, which I guess I'm moving on to, is the repaint, or the draw. I use colored pencils. So I was looking at that picture of Beyonce for hours, for days. I mean, there are worse things to look at for sure, but I really wanted to get her perfect. And I don't think it comes together until I add the little white highlight in the eye. And that's when I feel like the eye goes from being a flat doll eye to, you know, something that pops. But after that, I take the white bodysuit and chaps and I add the extra details. So the first thing is the belt buckle. I had these two belt buckles. I had the silver glittery one, and then I had just this like silver, you know, flat, not flat finish, but like a silver finish. I opted for the silver one so that it didn't take away too much from the overall look. And then I created these stencils for the blue and red cutouts. So the entire outfit is actually made out of latex. It was a decision I made because I was trying to think of what the best fabric would be that could imitate that shiny leather that she's wearing. So because it's latex, the blue and red is actually made out of like balloon material. And I cut the pieces out and I used liquid latex to attach it. And that was really challenging because there's some tiny little pieces in the bodice that I just needed to get right, but I put my little scissors to good use there. But yeah, once I got them all cut out and I got the glue spread out, I ended up using these tiny little, not Q-tips, but like little felt tip things, whatever, the pink thing in the corner. I ended up using that to spread it, and then once that was done, just carefully, so carefully place them on the chaps, because once it's on, it's a whole mess to get the glue, like if I have to remove it to get the glue off. But yeah, after that, it's like the final touches. I made the sash and I added the letters using iron-on Cricut vinyl. I had to sculpt a hat, but finally I think we can pass the mic to Beyonce. And this is the doll. So the final little touches were just adding the belts, painted some cowgirl shoes to go on it, and putting that on. And I think once it's all together, it just starts to feel like, oh yeah, this is Beyonce. This is Cowboy Carter. At least I feel that way. I'm pretty happy with how she turned out, especially for my first Bratz doll, my first custom Bratz doll. So yeah, this is the final product. I think she is quite country, if I do say so myself, and thank you so much for watching. If you've made it this far, please let me know what is your favorite Beyonce song from Cowboy Carter, but also just in general. And lastly, if you like what you see and you'd like to see more, consider subscribing. I love making dolls. It's truly my passion. So subscribe if you want, and thank you for watching.